Hello.
Welcome back to Miscord.
Yeah, it's not talking without thinking.
I am Paul Lecter.
And I am Rachel De Leon.
Is that?
What?
Never mind. Now for our topics today.
Change, but not us, and we just chillin'.
Academic freeze and online classes.
Ligtas balik eskwela and its implication and effects to both students and teachers.
And DepEd's action for COVID-19 teaching.
Yes.
Let's go.
So, what do you think about online classes?
Well, there's definitely a lot of things we have to do.
May ginagawa pa ako.
Huh?
Yes, online classes is depressing. I miss being autistic at school.
This is one reason why academic freeze has trended.
Personally, I can also see why people want to freeze the academic.
But generally speaking, an academic freeze is the worst solution for online classes.
I'm gonna read excerpts from NCR's Best Student Editorial Writers editorial. Since this is the online teaching, teachers are at no risk at all of contracting the disease since they can work at home. What if you say, they should focus on surviving first? Well, if they won't teach, what will the school pay them for? Yes, they will eventually lose their jobs, or at least not gain their salary. Where will they end up? Either without a job, applying for online teaching in companies like 51 Talk, or doing jobs that are not related to teaching. Unfortunately, the latter will just help feed the underemployment rate of the country.
Yeah, come to think of it, academic freezing could stop our online stress, but it will cause a lot of teachers and their families suffering.
Yeah, that brings us to Ligtas Balik Eskwela. You know, the better version of academic freezing. But instead of freezing the academics, we freeze the government until they give us the solution that is good for all.
I've done some reading in the interwebs. DepEd spends $500 billion to fund themselves and pay teachers and schools.
Big waste of money. Yes, if they pay teachers to do nothing.
Actually, DepEd does an investment. They use money to make paaral students for free. But
Yeah! And, oh, hey.
okay, yeah. And they expect the students to make money for the country in return.
So with Ligtas Balik Eskwela, students are given an opportunity to study and learn while teachers are able to work and be paid.
Yeah.
Oh, hi. I think our segment is running out of time.
Already? Okay.
Well, see you guys next episode.
Again, I am Rachel De Leon.
And I am Paul Lecter Aguilar. Miscord out.
Miscord out.
Hello! I'm Nika.
And I'm Paolo.
Your student homebodies going live on Miscord, where talking is nothing without thinking.
We'll be talking about how students cope with online learning and its new normal techniques.
So, online learning.
Yes, I guess I'm not the only one when I say that I am having a difficult time adjusting to this.
I sure do agree. It's not like the experience of being in class, really. Online learning's just different, you know? And I'm not complaining. Well, maybe a little bit. Because there's way more tasks here than the latter, you know?
I agree. With all the deadlines and such, it's just so much pressure. Based from what I see on my social media accounts, almost majority of students are having a hard time as well.
Not only with learning, but on how to access learning as well. We all know that Philippines is not the cheetah speed level when it comes to internet. So many students are having a hard time during online class discussions since there may be disconnecting or choppy when talking.
I guess we're very much fortunate since we get to access online classes, not with full ease, but enough for us to study suitably. But I really do feel for our fellow students who are having a hard time in every aspect of this online learning.
Yup, you got that right, Paolo. I really do hope that this pandemic will end soon so that everything will go back to normal. With us going back to school, adults going back to their jobs.
Speaking of jobs, not only us students are affected during this pandemic, but our dear teachers as well.
Yes, you make a good point again, Paolo.
Well, what can I say? Just kidding. But seriously though, what adjustments or techniques do our teachers do in this online learning?
Well, for starters, we have Zoom, where we mainly do our online classes. It serves as our virtual classroom. It's where our teachers mostly do their discussions while we simply participate when needed. There's also similar apps such as Google Meet and Discord.
That gave me an idea, Mika. We have ARA links where we get to submit our works, do quizzes, and the likes.
Exactly. What else? Oh, you remember when we do our interactive quizzes with Miss Baloto? Is it Quizlet? What? Quizlet? Quizwiz?
You mean quizzes?
Yes, that's the one. It can be pressuring though, since you can hear the ticking of the clock and your score depends on how fast you answer, unless your answer's wrong.
But I do enjoy it as well since it's kind of playing a game, but you're doing a quiz, so it's fun really. Oh wait, I have an idea. Canva as well, especially during our math time, remember?
Oh, yes. It is also interactive but can get a little messy sometimes as we're doing the same task simultaneously.
Oh, I got another one.
What's that, Paolo?
Scratch animation with Sir Marbella. I must admit though, it was kind of difficult at first.
But once you get a hang of it, it becomes fun, you know? Doing the animations are really fun since there are a lot to choose from. Wait, there's one more thing that we haven't mentioned yet.
I'm pretty sure we mentioned all the techniques.
We forgot about the video lectures.
Oh yes, you're right. This online learning can somehow become self-study as well since we have limited screen time as opposed to when we are in school. So sometimes lessons can be self-taught and all. For example, Khan Academy in YouTube.
You're right again, Paolo. You know, with all these learning strategies we're talking about, I do appreciate the efforts of our teachers more, especially during this new way of learning.
Not only us students are having a hard time but also them. But kudos to the efforts, dear teachers. We highly appreciate all the work you have done for us.
Yes, but please, let us breathe with all the schoolworks. Pretty please? You know how us, Filipinos, would say it.
Dahan-dahan lang, mahina ang kalaban.
Yes! Well, this has been a great discussion and all but good things must come to an end. I hope this goes with our pandemic as well.
It will. We just have to trust and cooperate so that things will be back to normal in no time.
And that concludes our discussion for today, my fellow student home buddies. Wow, that's actually quite long to say. I'm Mika.
And I'm Paolo.
And remember, talking is nothing without thinking. Miscord out.
Dito ay umaga at dyan ay gabi. Ang oras natin ay
Hello again, listeners! Welcome back to Miscord. Well, talking is nothing without thinking. This is Diego Godoy
And Miki Hata,
for your host this episode.
where we are going to talk about the important types of literacy we need in this pandemic.
Speaking of, how are you holding up in this pandemic?
I'm fine, I guess. How about you?
Well, I'm bored. I spend my time scrolling on my Twitter feed. I have noticed a particular hashtag floating around in my Twitter feed.
Oh, really? What is it?
It's about hashtag academic freeze and hashtag ligtas na balik eskwela.
Oh, I saw that as well. Which one do you agree to?
I agree to hashtag academic freeze. How about you?
I agree to hashtag academic freeze, but I disagree to hashtag digtas na balik eskwela. So, why do you agree to academic freeze but you disagree to hashtag digtas na balik eskwela? Why?
Based on what I saw on the internet, not everyone has a stable internet connection and it will be hard or worse. Impossible for some students to reach a signal and many students have insufficient materials that is needed for online classes, like gadgets and internet.
Do you believe what you saw on the internet?
Yes, I am sure. Because I believe that many parents are working really hard just for their child to be not left behind in education.
This actually brings us to our first topic, information literacy.
Mickey, what do you mean by information literacy?
Well, according to my research, information literacy is the ability to find, evaluate, organize, use, and communicate information in all its various formats.
I don't quite understand. Maybe you could give me an example?
You do research, right? For school.
Yes, I do this to get information for my assignments.
That shows that you are information literate. You know what to search for, where to get it, and how to apply it to your work.
I didn't know that I was information literate.
Yes, surprisingly, we don't know that we are literate in many other ways.
There are a lot of literacies that we need to have, especially in this pandemic, where we are sensitive to new information.
What are those other literacies? All I know is that I am information literate.
Well, there is also digital literacy, media literacy, and many more. But today, we are just going to focus about information, digital, and media literacy because these are the most important things to have in our era of information.
Yes, since we already know what information literacy is, could you tell me more about digital literacy, Diego?
Digital literacy refers to an individual's ability to find, evaluate, and compose clear information through writing and other media on various digital platforms.
Well said, Diego. So it's all about the digital world.
Yes. Going back to our previous conversation, one can also show that they are digitally literate by sharing their opinion on social media appropriately.
Oh, like the hashtags academic freeze and hashtag ligtas na balik eskwela?
Yes, exactly. Like this example from Felix Ziger on Twitter. They show their digital literacy by explaining why one hashtag is better than the other.
Ah, I get it now.
One can also share their opinion about something, whether they agree or not.
We can't say that everyone on the internet that provides their opinion on something digitally literate, since not all of them recognize if their information is true or not.
I agree. Now let us move on to the next type of literacy, which is related to the previous literacy. Mickey, which social media are you active on?
I am active on Facebook. I sometimes post, share, comment on Facebook. Why do you ask?
I ask because what you do on your social media shows your media literacy.
What is media literacy anyway?
Media literacy is the ability to identify different types of media and understand the messages they're sending. And based on what you do on your social media, you are media literate.
Really? I just simply post, comment, share on Facebook. How do you tell if you are media literate?
To put it simply, being media literate is just understanding what others are saying on the internet and what you do on your social media.
Ah, I get it now. Now I can identify whether I am an information, digital, or media literate.
Yes, now that we know these important types of literacy and its significance, we can still be able to practice our literacy online, implying that in spite of this pandemic, we can still practice literacy.
Indeed, we should not see this pandemic as a hindrance to our own literacy, and even try to practice more through the use of the internet, since we are already learning online.
We should practice our own information, digital, and media literacy, especially now that many are experiencing online distance learning.
Now, Miscordians, we hope you learned today about the different types of literacy that you should enrich and nurture so that everyone's literacy will not go down, rather continue to improve even if we have a pandemic.
Let us not make this pandemic stop us from learning, and may everyone continue to practice their literacy even more.
It has been a great day with all of you guys. We hope you learned many things today.
Again, we are your hosts, Diego Godoy.
And Miki Hata.
This is Miscord, where talking is nothing without thinking. Stay literate on all media. Miscord out. 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 Out.